My name is Jennifer George. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the director of community social services at Motion Picture Television Fund. Well, we're certainly in an unprecedented time. I mean, we've never endured anything like this before. We've experienced, different periods of work stoppages due to strike, but we've never quite seen the volume of clients that are in need of our help, of industry members that are in need of our help. It's quite unprecedented. The range of needs is also very varied. Sometimes it is financial assistance for basic living expenses, but also sometimes it's just containment of fear and uncertainty about what's to come and what's going on right now. It's hard to give you an exact number of how many calls we're getting each day, but typically before COVID-19, maybe we would average, 20 plus calls on the line. Right now, a typical day is somewhere between 60 calls to 100 plus calls a day, and there's a lot of variability with that. So, from my staff's perspective, we're all asking for patience of industry members that are calling, and everybody's been really gracious and fantastic and very patient with us as we have tried to get back to them as fast as possible. But essentially, someone calls our intake line and help starts right there. Our goal is to start to help the instant someone calls us. And so whether that is through our assessment process of trying to understand what is particularly going on for that given person, how has the work stoppage, how has COVID-19 and having to quarantine and shelter in place impacting them as a human being, their family systems. We start with that, just a lot of questions about how they're doing, checking in. And we start our eligibility process, and we're screening to make sure people are eligible for as many things as possible, not just within our organization, but from a local, county, and state and federal standpoint. So we're really trying to make sure we're letting everybody know all of the different resources and options that are available to them. With that comes a lot of conversations. Most people are calling for financial assistance, but like I was mentioning, a lot of people are just fearful. And they just need a place to share their story and to talk about what this process is like for them. And that's sort of our job as social workers, to sort of be able to bear witness to that and to support people through that. And it's a shared experience because, we have a title as a social worker, but we're also a human being. We have our own families and things that we're concerned about. And so, we can very quickly empathize with what everybody's going through. People are really concerned about, things that we're all concerned about. How am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to afford my utilities? Am I eligible for things like unemployment? Are there any other benefits? And how long is this going to last? Which of course we don't have an answer for, but that uncertainty of not knowing, how do I sort of prepare for this while we're actually in it? And how do I stretch my resources as a given individual for as long as possible? Mm-hmm. We've already touched as many people in terms of our intakes that we've completed than we served the whole year plus during the strike, the WGA writer strike. So certainly within 3 weeks, we've done the work that we've, did in a whole year's time. So there's nothing that can really compare to what we're experiencing now. And again, because we don't know what that end date is going to be, it's hard to see that sort of light at the end of the tunnel, but we know it's there. And part of our job is to support people and to help to maintain hope. I think that's really important part of our work beyond the tangible resources that we can give to folks. I think every day it's small gratitudes and appreciations. I think we're really coming together as an organization and as a social work department. We're one team, even though we have different expertise within that team that we do and implement throughout the organization. But I think it's just looking close within your environment and family structure for the things that you can appreciate on a day-to-day basis, looking at your kids, looking at your spouse or partner, looking at your pets, really trying to be present in those moments, with the things that bring value and meaning to your life. And that's something, we're asking our staff to do, and just take a moment each day to try to take a deep breath, and to be grounded, because it's a lot to be, present for folks who are struggling and for ourselves, to be quite honest. When this is all said and done, it's a good reminder to folks about the need to, sort of plan for these crises, although we could never foresee anything like this happening. I think as people are preparing to call us, I think I would probably just ask them to be patient with our process, and understand that, I can't tell you how concerned my staff is and the social workers here at MPTF. And everybody here at MPTF to make sure we're getting back to people as quickly as possible. So to just be patient with us, to be prepared to talk about what their work had been up until COVID-19 and production shut down, and just know that we're going to ask a lot of questions, and we're really here to be supportive and to be a listening ear.